Welcome to 12-Minute Talks, where important information is shared in a short time period. Learn from other business owners, entrepreneurs, and experts about what they do to help you find solutions to everyday topics in 12 minutes or less. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 12-Minute Talks podcast. I'm excited to have with us today Julie Tyler. She's the founder of StoryBold, where they help other authors and writers develop their own stories. Julie, thank you so much for being on today.
Yeah, thanks. I'm really excited to talk about this and to be on your podcast.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to have you on as well. So Julie, before we get started into more of what it is that you help the community with, why don't you tell us a little bit more about your background and how you got started in this industry?
Yeah, so before I moved to Miami, I was in grad school. I was working on a Ph.D. in literature, and my goal with that was to be in higher education, to be a professor, to be researching and publishing academic material. But towards the end of that program, as much as I loved the what I was learning, and as much as I loved teaching the students, my undergraduate students, I felt that this environment was not for me. It was a very gut level response, and it was clear I wanted to do something else. I wanted to move to a different city. I wanted to start my own company, and I wanted to teach adults who don't have any intention of going back to higher education, but they wanted to learn something. They wanted to learn how to write in a completely different environment. I wanted to line all of that up. I wanted to talk about storytelling. I wanted to help people learn to write, and particularly adults who are going to be outside of university or college environments. And so I moved here, I moved to Miami, and got busy immediately, starting my original company, which was not very good because there was no real business model. I was freelancing and just doing all these different things at different prices for different types of people, and there's no way for me to scale that. So I dissolved that. I also worked in the private sector for a little while as a professional writer. I was working on my own writing, evenings and weekends, and then eventually I started what is now my company, StoryBold, so that I can work specifically and exclusively with writers, adult writers who want to write a book. They want to get their story out into the world, and they are committed to that process. They bring all of their experience from a variety of different fields, nearing the end of their official work life, and they're retiring, and some people are sort of mid-career, but they're all adults, and they're all really want to see it get into the hands of the readers and make a difference for them.
Awesome. So yeah, so you went from academia, which I'm sure can be very structured. I've never worked in that field, but I could imagine, to then having your own business, really niching what it is that who you want to help, right?
Yeah.
And so how is it that you provide these types of services?
So I always have available to super committed writers. I always have my one-on-one services available. So if somebody wants to work with me, they come with whatever they have. Maybe this is just an idea. Maybe they already have half a manuscript, a couple chapters, some part of it written. And I meet the writer where they are, and we talk about the exact order of operations it's going to take what they have or don't have, all the way to the finish line, which is you have a manuscript that is ready to pitch to literary agents, pitch to publishers. And once that happens, once they get a publisher, once they get an agent, then they are ready to go off on their own. So I do one-on-one coaching. I have done really fun in-person workshops as well as online webinars where a group of writers comes together. We talk about a specific topic in craft, like how to create your characters, how to set up your plot, how to optimize your first chapter, just to give you some examples. And then now I have taken all of my material, every individual topic that I've taught live with writers, and I've put this in a single course that you can register for and have just on your own schedule. It's on demand, and it takes you through the entire process in the order that's going to best serve you. and you do it at your own pace and when it works into your own schedule. And then, of course, any person who registers, they have email access to me if they have a question as they're going through the modules, but it is a self-study.
Okay. Yeah, that's really good because I think a lot of people maybe they have, they want to write a book in like their bucket list, but it's something they never get around to, and you touched on a few things like developing the character and the plot. So this course that you're offering, it's you said on their own, but is it also interactive like with you? They have access to reach out to you to help them with this?
Definitely you can reach out. So I'm not, because it's not live, because you do get the modules delivered to you, you're engaging with those on your own. And so actually you take a module, and then right after each one, there's a place for you to do an exercise to actually type in your thoughts, a scene. If it's in the character creation module, you can start crafting what that character is all about, and you submit it there. And so I'm able um, to take a look at that and help anyone who takes the course to continue to fine tune that.
Yeah, that's definitely great, Julie. So you're making a very daunting task easy for people, breaking it down into steps there.
Yeah.
Great. And so what's something that sets you apart from maybe other coaches that focus on this niche?
Well, I really pride myself on helping writers figure out what their unique value is. And for every writer, the unique value is you. And so tapping into some of the things that exist in your subconscious and tapping into memories, personal experiences, no matter the subject matter of your book, being able to connect to those very personal things and figure out a way to infuse this into a book, I think is crucial. And so I spend time focusing on that. And just my approach to the specifics of craft, asking the kinds of questions that will lead writers to generate their own insights. And then once they have the insights, having a specific way to apply that to, okay, here's my piece of paper, here's my document, what do I write? Because I think sometimes or a lot of times, the barrier is everything sounds great here. It feels like, oh yes, this is going to be the most amazing book, and there is no conduit to get it on paper. There's no conduit to get it on a document because the techniques aren't there, the specific instructions aren't there. So all of the greatness needs someone like me to bring words to and to specify and be able to describe, and then have the exact way, the step 1, step 2, step 3, to get every little part of that on paper. So that's what I pride myself on.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds a lot better than Googling, synonyms for words.
Right.
Yeah, and definitely being able to get it down on paper how that person sees it in their head. Great. And so are these nonfiction or fiction books that you help people with?
Most people come to me with either a novel idea or a memoir idea. So a memoir is nonfiction because it is based on the author's life. But the difference between a memoir and like a self-help or a how-to or some sort of transformational nonfiction is that the memoir focuses exclusively on a story from the author's life. So they pick a segment of their life and they shape it into a compelling narrative with a beginning, middle, and an end. There's a main character, there's a journey. And so it's very similar in the craft and style and approach to a novel. It's like a novel in a lot of ways, except that the author is explicitly the main character. Whereas with a novel, you have the author can base it on their life, but they create a character that isn't understood as, yes, this is me, I'm the author, and I'm telling my story. But you can, of course, draw from personal experience with a novel. So that's what I focus on mostly. I have had a couple of nonfiction writers come along, but the further I go with this, the more I realize that my own heart is leading more towards the fiction memoir. I like the story where all it is a story. And I don't mean that that, that's all it is, because there's a lot there, but we're not adding on the how-to element or the instructional element, or the self-improvement element. Those things can come from reading a work of fiction or a memoir, but we don't include any steps or things specifically for a reader to learn. It is a story through and through. So that's where my heart really lies.
Fantastic. Yeah, I never realized such a difference between fiction and nonfiction. With the way you explained it there, really clarifies that. And so, Julie, how can somebody reach out to StoryBold to get more information about you and your courses?
So I have several ways. Very active on Instagram, and I have been active for a number of years on Instagram, and I've been recently more active on Facebook, and I have my website and then my email. So all of these are available. My email address is julie@storyboldstudio.com. My Instagram is @storybold. My Facebook is Julie Tyler. I've been using my personal profile actually for that. And then my website is storyboldstudio.com, and there's a contact feature there as well.
Awesome. And like always, I will have all of the links down below, so those listening or watching this video can easily click on it and get to know more about Julie and StoryBold. And I just wanted to quickly introduce myself for those of you that don't know who I am. My name's Lorena Tomasini, and I'm the owner of Mom Life and Health Insurance Agency, where together with my mom, we help other families and business owners with their financial protection needs digitally. Julie, it's been great having you on the 12-Minute Talks podcast. And I do have one random question for you. What would you say is a good productivity tip?
For productivity, I like to do the following 4 things. I like to make sure that my environment, my physical environment, is set up for my success. So everything has to be set for my physical comfort. The lighting has to be right. Everything has to be clean and clear. So before I do anything in the morning, I make sure my environment is ready to go. My soundscape, so I need the right sounds around me. Voices, I cannot handle. I also can't handle dead silence. So I have a ready-made set of resources for white noise, for music that is non-lyrical, just instrumental music. In terms of the time and my task, I'm very intentional at all times about what am I working on, and how does this one thing that I'm working on, how does this contribute to my larger purpose, the reason that I am on this planet. So I don't pick any busy work. I'm always like, okay, I'm going to do this. This is a high mileage task, and this is going to serve my overall purpose. And then with my time, I'm very intentional about that. Everything that I'm going to do is listed on my Google Calendar, and I get a notification on my phone, so that even if I walk away from my computer and I just happen to have my phone is telling me it's time for me to do the next thing. So those 4 things, that's how I stay productive.
Awesome. Great advice for everybody listening out there. And Julie, again, it's been great having you today on the show. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Just that if you have a story, I mean, everybody has a story, but if you've got this gut feeling that that your story would make an impact on readers, you definitely need to give life to it. Definitely it's not too late. Sometimes, we get to a point in our lives and we're like, well, I'm too old to do this. And that's definitely not true. But if you're feeling it now, no matter where you are in your life journey, definitely go ahead and start to give life to that idea, because it will serve readers. There will be a readership for it. And carrying around a story, there's this quote, I can't remember it exactly, but bearing an untold story is one of the greatest burdens. It's very heavy. So the best thing to do is to unburden yourself and to share your gifts with the world.
There you go. And with Julie's help, that should be a lot easier now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this podcast, and hope you will listen to the next one. I'm Lorena Tomasini, and you can contact me via email, life@malmins.com. Make it a great day.